Os países ocidentais estão finalmente reconhecendo que as crianças têm direitos, mas os adultos continuam no comando. Eles decidem quanta liberdade as crianças podem ter e justificam esse controle, alegando que é para a proteção delas.
These silly ideas like you're encouraging kids to divorce their parents, or they'll soon be suing their parents for their pocket money, or they'll be getting injunction to stop their parents going into their bedroom. I mean, these Mickey Mouse ideas keep filtering round, and people associate children's rights with rights against the parents. In this whole area of family law and family breakdown, most children feel very shut out, feel that nobody really wants to hear their point of view, feel that the whole process it goes on behind closed doors without any recognition that it's their lives that people are talking about.
What I worry about is when my mum or my dad gets I get worried when they talk on the phone and that because I don't know what they're saying and they could be fighting or something, and it scares me because I don't know.
If mum and dad separate, sometimes I cry in my room because I miss Dad.
When they have a really big fight, I really get worried.
What do you get worried about?
I get worried about them splitting up.
One of the most important rights, if not the most important right of a child, is the right to participate in a family or living unit decisions. Not to be simply dragged along as a sort of piece of flotsam or jetsam. So it's part of the right to be taken seriously. And I think that is the most fundamental one. And it's associated with that some of the other rights come up, and they're just the ordinary rights of other people, you know. The right not to have pain or humiliation visited upon you in an arbitrary way. I mean, very often we talk about disciplining children when we mean hitting them.
All our societies now believe that it's wrong for people to hit each other. We are all anxious about interpersonal violence. We all regret the levels of violence in our society, and they are all controlled by law and by convention. If an adult hits another adult, that's assault. If a man hits his wife, she is protected, not always adequately, but she is by the law. Why are children, the smallest and most vulnerable members of society, the only people left in society whom can be hit?
By hitting and stuff, I think that's pretty bad. All they'll do is grow up to hate their mum and dad.
I don't know, but I don't like it. I would never want to be hit.
They're older than you, they're bigger than you, they're bigger size than you, and they shouldn't hit you. I don't think you're allowed to hit them back. Exactly. And you can't hit them back as well. So it's not fair. They shouldn't hit us, now we shouldn't hit them.
We teach children, we positively teach them very carefully to say no to any kind of physical contact that feels wrong to them or that they don't want. They have the right to say no, they have the right to scream, they have the right to run. They must always tell somebody. They don't have to put up with kisses from Aunt Jane or anything else from anybody. But have you ever heard of a child being told that she can say no to a spanking, no to a beating, no to a paddling? Let a child try that.
Há duplos padrões na forma que tratamos as crianças. Perseguimos os indivíduos que abusam sexualmente das crianças, mas ignoramos vários problemas sociais básicos que moldam a vida delas. Promovemos os direitos infantis e, no entanto, até os países ricos não conseguem prover pelo bem-estar de toda criança.
There's an enlarging group of children who've dropped out of that privileged society, just as in the decaying estates on the outskirts of British cities from the beginnings of the 90s. There have been outbursts, mini riots, explosions amongst young people who literally do have no hope and nothing to look forward to. These are places where a large proportion of the adults are out of work, where children have rejected schools and education, where it has nothing to offer them anyway. and where social collapse takes the form of violent children on the street.
The problems confronting children today are obvious. The problems confronting children today are poverty. We have a great many children living in poverty. And violence. We have a great many children living in violence, and we're not doing very much about either one of those problems.
Whether you're in a parking lot, whether you're at Manchester Center, whether you're in your backyard, whether you're walking home from school, what you do is drop until immediate dangerous pass.
This unique drill is the innovation of the school's principal. Sandra Browning believes, along with earthquakes and fires, kids need to know how to handle gunfire.
There have been studies in some of our major cities which suggest that over half of all children before they enter school have heard a shooting in their neighborhood, or certainly know somebody who's been shot and killed. And, you know, what that does to a child is unbelievable. There are several people studying the effects of violence on children, and these children look like they're going through post-traumatic stress syndrome, where they have startle responses to loud noises, they're very withdrawn, they're depressed. We really are taking their childhoods away from them.
I'm afraid of growing up because I don't want to, like, get shot like my cousin did one time in Boston.
Some guy came out with a car and was shooting at the ground, and he got shot on his leg. And they took him to the hospital, and I'm worried that one day that might happen to me or someone else.
If I'm, like, walking home or something, like, people get into lots of fights.
Sometimes I'm afraid when I go down to the shops that someone's going to take me down when I walk down to the shops and kidnap me.
I'm afraid to go out of our street because near our house and in our street and out of our street, there's been a lot of attacks and burglaries and stuff like that, and I never leave my mum's sight now. There's a lot of violence going on in the world and everything. And if there is, when I grow up and I have it, you could be, like, scared to bring a kid in the world because all the violence and everything. Your kid could get hurt and everything. And there's all that killing and everything in the world, so I'm scared to have a kid when I grow up.
Apesar de nossas ideias românticas, as crianças vivem no mesmo mundo complexo e imperfeito que os adultos. Enquanto nos apegarmos ao mito da inocência infantil, continuaremos a negar a realidade das crianças.
You can imagine how different the world would be if we put children first, truly put children first in any policy, whether it was a workplace policy or a public policy. The first question was, what will be the impacts on children? It would be, you know, a world in which children are truly valued, in which they come first. You can imagine we would have high-quality childcare, we'd have lengthier paid family leave law, instead of doing what we're doing now, where we're cutting health care, education, welfare, social services. We'd be cutting the defense budget, and we would be more reluctant to cut taxes because we would feel that it's worth the public investment in children.
If we were to bring children back into life seriously, care for them, give them money and attention, don't let all our schools be so horrible, falling apart and the ceiling falling down, and paying teachers little money in order to teach them and all these things. What if we really took care of children, really, really took care of them, gave them our money, gave them a place in our lives, took them seriously? Then we would have the gifts of the child.
What could you do if you were grown up that you can't do now?
I can't say bad words. I have to watch my mouth. And I can't do bad things.
What do you think you'll be able to do when you're grown up that you can't do now?
Switch on ovens.
do more things, better things.
Drive a car.
Stay out till late.
When I grow up, I'd like to live with a wife in a big mansion and have a few kids.
I'd like to be able to bet on horses whenever I like. Arrest people and take them to the police station and get their thumbprint.